Okay, so a good day to you, class. This is our recording for the fifth module in our course, which is the TPACK model. Okay, so I'm sorry, I haven't edited this one. It's only TPACK model as of this rate. Okay, so when you say the TPACK model, okay, this is a model that mixes basically different types of knowledge to have, what do you call this? A harmonious whole in using technology in teaching or in the education sector. So let's let's just dive right into it. Okay, so the TPACK model. So just a brief what do you call this disclaimer here. One of our sources or one of our main sources here for this article is from mattcollier.com. So, si Collier, isa siya sa mga pinaka-main proponents ng TPACK. Along with Mishra, the two of them has basically spearheaded the creation of this framework. Okay? So, but before Collier and Mishra has have created this particular framework, they of course they have extracted or they have what do you call this? Uh, they got inspiration from the work of one particular author, which is Schulman. Okay, technically the idea of Schulman of mixing pedagogical and content knowledge. So mamaya makita natin kung ano iyon. So as I said, TPACK is a framework that has different components. So the proponents of TPACK suggested 7 components. Okay, and they are presented in this diagram. Okay, so palitin natin ng konti. So this is the entirety. Okay, so the figure 1 is the entirety of the TPACK model. Okay, so there are 3 types of knowledge according to Collier and Mishra. We have content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge, and the remaining forms are a combination of these 3 forms of knowledge. Okay, so in 2012, Kohler basically asserts that integrating technology in teaching in content necessitates developing sensitivity to the dynamic and transactional relationship between the components of knowledge. Okay, so medyo heavy yung definition, but let us understand them part by part. Okay, so we are now using technology in our teaching. Okay, that very much is unavoidable. Okay, so the use of technology is very much situational, and at the same time it requires a good amount of knowledge and skill from the user for the said technology to be integrated in the classroom. Okay, because a classroom is chaotic as it is without technology. One time your student can be well mannered, very good students, they're listening, they are participating, and then the next you get another set of learners, different set of learning styles, different set of temperaments. That change is already chaotic in itself, and then you will integrate technology in that. Hence this reinforces what Collier said when he stated here that technology requires sensitivity to the relationships between the different types of knowledge, because you cannot easily integrate technology if you do not know how it addresses the needs of the students and how it is integrated in the content that you are teaching. Okay, so the next sentences are basically saying that okay, there is a uniqueness in every situation in the classroom, and that there is no combination of content, technology and pedagogy that will apply to each and every one of these scenarios. Okay? So there is no end all be all when it comes to using technology, in the same way that there is no end all be all in selection of pedagogy. Okay? Hindi laging maganda ang lecture method, hindi laging maganda ang interactive method, hindi laging maganda ang demonstration method, hindi laging maganda ang action learning. So ganun din ang sinasabi ni Collier sa technology. Okay? Or at least technology in education. So with this assumptions in mind, let us talk about the different types of knowledges. Okay? So content knowledge, so nakadefine naman na po dyan. Okay, magbigay na rin po ako ng example, pakibasa na lang on that part. However, content knowledge is basically this. It is your collection of knowledge regarding a particular field. So for example, I, myself, am a major in mathematics. So I know the theories in mathematics. I know how to solve particular equations in mathematics. Okay? I know how some formulas are extracted in mathematics. And so on and so forth. This knowledges in the field is content knowledge. Okay? So for science majors, meron din silang different set of content knowledge. Sa English, sa SOCSTUD, sa values, all of them have different contents, and your knowledge regarding these contents, okay? Kung paano gagamitin yung parts of speech, kung paano naka-apekto yung isang literature on the development of a culture, okay? Kung ano yung DNA composition ng isang amoeba, all of these types of knowledge are under content knowledge. This is the what of education. Okay? So next, we have pedagogical knowledge. Okay, before I move on to pedagogical knowledge, let me just note this one. Okay? When we are teaching kasi, it is one of the principles of teaching to report on the facts. Okay? Usually, in our current generation, there can be a distortion of opinions. Opinions that are misinterpreted as facts, or facts that are misinterpreted as opinions. Okay? That's why Collier and Mishra stated that content knowledge is very much a field, or very much an environment filled with a lot of contention and disagreement, because the facts of someone may not be known to the other. Okay? The point of view of someone is technically different from someone else. Hence, there is a disagreement in that area. Okay? So, I guess as a teacher, it's always better to focus on reporting facts. And if you're going to report an opinion, okay, make sure that that opinion is hard to rebuke, or it is hard, what do you call this? Is hard anchored on facts. Okay? So next, we have the pedagogical knowledge. Okay? So when you say pedagogical knowledge, meron actually dito sa pinakadulo, pinaka-summary. This is the knowledge on the cognitive, psychological, social, and physical theories of learning and teaching, and the application of all of these things in the classroom. Technically, pedagogical knowledge is your knowledge on the theories that affects the learning of your learners, and how you use these theories in teaching, okay, and in assessing your learners. So kasama dito yung kaalaman mo sa theories of development. Okay? Kasama dito yung kaalaman mo sa theory on motivation. Kasama dito yung kaalaman mo sa pag-iiba-iba ng learning styles. Kasama dito yung paggawa mo ng tools or ng survey questionnaire to get the learning styles of the learners. Kasama dito yung paggawa mo ng instructional tools that caters to the what do you call this? To the different multiple intelligences of your learners. Kasama dito yung paggawa mo ng objectives sa isang lesson. Kasama dito yung mga connections na nakikita mo from a student's general characteristics to their performance. Okay? So all of this is your idea, okay, on how to improve learning through the use of all the things you have learned in teaching, in how to teach, how to assess teaching, and how to control teaching. Okay? So, the definition here, basically you can get keywords here. Okay? So, you can get this part. They encompass the purposes, values, and aims. So, again, as a teacher, you know the values, or you have to set what objectives should the lesson have. What skills should the students acquire. Okay? So, yung kaalaman mo sa field, kaalaman mo sa math, you still have to decide, when you are going to decide na ano bang part sa content na to yung ituturo ko. That's an advanced type of knowledge. Okay? Pedagogical knowledge is knowing what is your objective. Okay? It is also this is also the knowledge of strategies and understanding your learner. So, nasabi ko na yan kanina nung nagsasalita ako. Okay? Okay, on my previous explanation, I mean. So, technically, PK or pedagogical knowledge is the house of teaching. Paano mo ituturo? Okay? Paano mo tuturuan yung mga bata? Paano mo i-evaluate yung mga bata? Ano ang techniques na gagamitin mo? Ano ang mga strategies na nakita mo? Ano ang ilalagay mo sa instructional materials mo? All of that knowledge is under pedagogical knowledge. Next, we have technology knowledge. Okay? Now, according to my research, okay, ito daw yung pinakamahirap i-define according to Collier and Mishra, because ang content knowledge, it sticks to the learners. What they know, they will know for quite a long time. And a lot of times, if these are content knowledge, if they are facts, then they will remain true up until the end of time. Okay? The same with PK. A lot of these theories have been going on for quite a while. Okay? A lot of the techniques are still implemented in the classroom of the current generation as it was implemented in the classroom of the previous generations. So they are enduring. But the definition of technology knowledge is not, simply because there are a lot of developments in the field of technology. So how do you define this? So Collier and Mishra basically anchored their definition in the definition of fitness or fluence of information technology according to NRC. Now, they defined, or NRC defined, fitness as what? A deeper understanding and mastery of information. Okay? Information for what? For processing, or basically it's for communicating and problem solving. So it does not end with knowing how a particular technology works. It's about knowing what that particular technology can do. Okay? How information can be processed in that technology, how it can allow you to communicate information, and how it allows you to solve niche or specific problems. Okay? So again, hindi sapat na alam mo lang, halimbawa, hindi lang sapat na alam mo lang mag-open ng PowerPoint. Dapat alamin mo ano yung mga kayang gawin ng PowerPoint. Okay? Saan ko pwedeng magamit yung PowerPoint? Ano pa yung ibang capabilities ng PowerPoint? Ano yung outputs ko pag gumamit ako ng PowerPoint? What particular files am I going to get? How can I share these files? All of these questions are under technology knowledge. Knowing how technology can help, knowing how technology can be used in productive ways. Remember, in our previous lesson, we talked about the uses of technology in education. Technology as communication tool, as productivity tool, as research tool, as decision making and problem solving tool. So all of these uses are actually under technology knowledge. Okay? So ang definition naman ni Collier and Mishra sa TK is it is an understanding of information technology in a broad manner that allows you to be productive and allows you to know if a certain technology can help or distract you from your goal, as well as being able to adapt to changes in information technology. So madami-dami pala. Okay, dapat alam mo daw yung technology. Okay, yun yung baseline. Alam mo kung paano siya gamitin productively at work. Okay, alam mo. So pangalawa yun. Pangatlo, alam mo kung makakatulong or makaka-impede yung technology na yon. Okay? So, for example, some of you may know Excel. Some of you may know Word. Some of you may know PowerPoint presentation. Alin sa mga ito yung pinakamas makakatulong sa tasks mo as teacher? Okay. And the answer is, there is no definite answer because it depends on your goal or on your task. If your goal is to make an interactive instructional material, then chances are you would go for a PowerPoint presentation. If your goal is to type documents for your field work, chances are you'll use Microsoft Word. So this is what it means when we need to know if an information tool is used to assist or impede our achievement. And of course, nagbabago-bago yung mga yan. You have to keep up with all of the changes that it gives. Okay? So, we move on to pedagogical content knowledge. Okay? So, pedagogical content knowledge, ito yung pinakaunang na-conceptualize na combination ng knowledge actually. So, it is conceptualized by Shulman in 1986. Okay? Now, it is defined as the transformation of the subject matter for teaching. Okay. Transformation of the subject matter. So, what does it say? Basically, you have content knowledge, okay? You know what it is that you are teaching. The question is, what techniques are you going to use to teach that particular content? Okay? As a mathematician, for example, I know a lot of advanced lessons in mathematics. The problem is, if I'm going to teach younger learners, the beginning learners, How am I going to teach them? And saan ko tatapusin? How am I going to present all of this interconnected knowledge in classroom? Magtatapos ba ako sa transformation ng algebraic equations? Magtatapos ba ako sa solving algebraic equations onto unknowns? Pupunta pa ba ako sa calculus? Gagamit pa ba ako ng determinants? At pag hindi nyo na naintindihan yung terms na ginagamit ko, that's one of the processes on how I transformed content into pedagogical content knowledge. Because all of the advanced materials, maaaring hindi pa nila kailangan. Okay? All of this beginner materials, maaaring dito muna ako magsimula. Okay? So, ang pinaka-definition nito. So, yeah, according to Collier Mishra, this is the core business of teaching, learning, curriculum, assessment, and reporting that promotes the linkages among them. Okay? So how do you do that? So for example here, I decided I want to teach fractions. Okay? Okay? I know what fractions are. I know their definition. I know how to perform operations on them. I know the kinds of fraction. That's content knowledge. Now, I know a lot of teaching strategies. Okay? Maaari akong gumamit ng lecture method, ng demonstration method. Maaari akong magpa-pen and paper test for evaluation. Maaari akong magpa-activity sa kanila for evaluation. Pwede ako magpa-drawing, pwede ako magpa-solve. Okay? Pwede ako magpa-activity sa kanila. Will the activity be interactive? Will the activity be in groups or individuals? Okay? So, yung mga tanong na yun, on what particular methods you're going to use, that's PK, pedagogical knowledge. Now, if you're going to mix them, that question you're going to ask is, alin sa mga naisip ko sa PK ang appropriate sa aking content? They're beginning their fraction learning. Hence, baka hindi magandang gumamit ng lecture method. So, Scrum yung lecture method. Demonstration, pwede, pero baka meron pang mas concrete. Pwede akong I can use the concept of what they call the CRT, concrete representational, CRA, concrete representational and abstract, meaning I can do lecture method if I want, but it has to be reinforced with concrete materials. So before they are presented with fractions, they must first be presented with an activity, a concrete activity that allows them to use fractions. So that kind of epiphany, or those kinds of epiphanies, those kinds of limitations on the choices you make, whether it be your choices in selecting strategy or method, or your choices on what particular content you're going to teach. Okay, the combination on how they limit each other and how they affect each other is under pedagogical content knowledge. Okay? So, ito actually yung pinaka-core ng teaching. Okay? Sometimes technology is, siguro sa mga traditional ones, technology is not that used. Especially sa mga older teachers. Diba? They focus on simply teaching the content. Teaching pedagogical knowledge, the lesson, which is content knowledge. Teaching the lesson, pedagogical content knowledge. Okay? So next, we have TCK. Okay. Let me edit that. So TCK is basically the changes. Sorry. It's not that. Okay. Kung yung PCK ay nag-a-affect on pedagogical and content knowledge, TCK affects technology and content. Okay? So I have given an example here. For example, as an engineering professional, okay? You know how to build buildings, okay? You know how to calculate the stress and the tension between each material, the prices of each material, how the end product would look like. That's your content knowledge, okay? Your technological knowledge would be your knowledge on how to use certain applications. For example, you know how to use an AutoCAD, you know how to use printing, you know how to print. That's actually technology knowledge na. Just the knowledge of being able to print. Okay? Then you're going to combine all of these knowledges. Okay? So for example, you're using AutoCAD to create a 3D model of the building you plan to build. Okay? So that's an example of TCK. Okay, it's a very blunt example because you can define TCK as the use of technology in your content area. Okay? Because technically what technology wants to achieve in the content area is that we are allowed, or technology allows for changes in representation of the subject matter. So kung dati, ginagawa ng mga engineers mano-mano yung mga models nila to propose to their builders, ngayon pwede na nilang i-print. The knowledge of printing, the knowledge of creating software models is under technological content knowledge because you use your knowledge of technology to alter the representation of your content. Your content is the building model. Your technological knowledge is your knowledge on AutoCAD. Combine them, you use AutoCAD to create a 3D model, hence that is technological content knowledge. Okay? So another example given here is the use of technology in presenting mathematics or in presenting science. Okay? So dati gumagawa pa tayo ng model ng solar systems. Right now, you can just search YouTube or you can search softwares online that allows you to model the solar system right to its perfect accuracy or almost perfect accuracy. Kasama pa dun yung mga skills nila kung gusto mo. Okay? I mean, a quick search in Google allows you to do that, and you will see that most of these representations are shown through technology because technology allows us to see, to compare and contrast, to create more realistic models or representations of the solar system. Okay? Maaring nagawa nila to sa paggamit din ng 3D modeling. Maaring nagawa nila to sa paggamit ng calculator. Okay? Maaari namang nagawa nila to sa paggamit ng iba pang software. Their knowledge on that particular software, technological knowledge. Okay? Then their knowledge on the content, their knowledge on the skills of the solar system, kung gaano talaga kalaki yung Earth. Okay? Kung ano yung mga contents ng ating solar system. By merging that, they created a model for solar system. Okay? Using the technologies that they know. Okay? So that's TCK. So mahaba-haba po itong definition ng ating TCK. So ang definition nito, okay, ang definition ni Collier and Mishra sa TCK is basically this. Ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina. Okay? On how technology and content influence and constrain one another. Okay? Because you know, kahit marami kang alam na software, hindi lahat yon ay magagamit mo sa content area mo. Okay? Marunong ka mag-AutoCAD. How are you going to use that in English or in teaching literature? You can't. They constrain one another. You know how to use Excel. How are you going to use that to teach values? to teach the different pillars of a community. It might be possible, but it's hard. Again, they influence and constrain one another. Okay? So that is your TCK. Your understanding on how content muna ha, on how content can affect technology and vice versa. Anong technology yung gagamitin mo para ma-represent yung content. Okay? Next, you have TPK. Okay? So, paulit-ulit lang din yung understanding natin dito. So, kung kanina, yung technology and content yung nagbabalagbagan, dito, yung technology at pedagogy yung nag-uuntugan. Okay? So, for example, dito yung Google Meet. Ang Google Meet, that your idea of Google Meet, how to navigate, how to create, how to start a meeting in Google Meet are all under technological knowledge. Now, you're going to look, what particular pedagogies can I use in Google Meet? Diba? Hindi mo magagamit lahat ng pedagogy doon. Hence, already, nakikita mo na yung limit ng Google Meet in terms of its pedagogical capabilities. Okay? Makaka-evaluate ba ako sa Google Meet? Technically, hindi. Oh, another example, gamit kang Google Forms. Okay, Google Forms for evaluation. Pwede kang gumawa ng essay doon, pwede kang gumawa multiple choice. Ano yung limit? The limit is, maaring wala yung interactivity. Maaring wala yung synchronous manner. So, your understanding of all of these applications is only limited by what particular pedagogy can be used hand in hand with it. Okay? Vice versa naman. You want to use interactive learning. Okay? So, anong technologies yung pwede mong gamitin doon? Okay? Pwede ba kang gumamit ng Excel doon? Interactive learning? Ang Excel, isang user lang usually. Okay, baka hindi. Word, hindi rin. Ano yung mga technologies na pwede kong gamitin para gumamit ako interactive learning? Pwede akong gumamit ng scavenger hunt. Pwede akong gumamit ng Jamboard. Kasi pwedeng gumamit ng multiple users. So at that point, you're going to look for applications, software, that allows a particular file or environment to be accessed interactively, interconnectedly, and most importantly, do you call this? Ano ba yung tamang term doon? Nang sabay-sabay. Hindi ko mahanap yung English term. Okay? But technically, naghahanap ka ng software na pwedeng gamitin ng maraming users sabay-sabay, instantaneously. Okay? Collaboratively, naisip kong salita, but it's not that. Siguro mababa lang yung aking train of thought today. But nonetheless, I hope you get the idea. Okay? So once you what do you call this? Once you clash any form of knowledge with one another, you get either PCK, TPK, or TCK. Okay? Because as you saw in the Venn diagram, maliit lang to because again they limit one another. Okay, and finally yung pinaka naglilimit sa kanila. Okay, isang example ulit to. This is an example extracted from Collier and Mishra, yung paggamit ng whiteboard. Okay, so class, remember that TPK is not what do you call this, not constrained in content, meaning you're looking at the what do you call this, at the larger view of using technology in the education sector. Okay, no particular content, just technology in the entirety of the education sector. Okay, so dito na tayo sa TPACK. Okay, so para daw makuha mo yung TPACK, or basically the combination of all the three major components of knowledge, you need to have the following: an understanding of the representation of concepts using technologies. Okay? This is your TCK. How are you going to represent a concept using technology? Next, pedagogical techniques that use technologies in constructive ways to teach content. Okay? Medyo madugong intindihin. So, paano daw ba yan? Technically, ganito yan. Anong technologies, okay, yung akma na pwedeng mag-aid sa'yo ng pagtuturo ng isang content. So, you think of it this way. For example, I know how to use Word. Okay, Microsoft Word. How can I use that to teach the figures of speech? Okay? Anong techniques yung gagamitin ko dito? Pag sinulat mo yan as a module type, yung parang ginagawa natin ngayon, that's what? Ang akma doon ay lecture method. Lecture method plus Microsoft Word to teach figures of speech. So, dapat daw meron kang ganung level ng knowledge. Okay? Next, knowledge of what makes concept difficult or easy, and how technology can address these problems or redress these problems. Okay? So, kailangan daw, alam mo rin kung ano yung mahirap at madali sa concept. That's your concept knowledge. And how technology can be used to alleviate these issues. Okay? Usually, sa mathematics, mahirap intindihin yung division of fraction. So, how do you do that? You use technology. You use instructional material. Usually, ang ginagawa namin dyan, yung panibago ngayon, yung tinatawag na bar model method. This is technically an instructional material that allows your students to see gaano exactly kaliit yung 1/4. Okay? Gaano exactly kaliit yung 1/3. Ano mangyari pag yung 1/4 ay hinati mo sa 1/3? All of these things can be done with technology. Next, knowledge of students, prior knowledge and theories of epistemology. Okay, nakalimutan ko na yung ibig sabihin ng epistemology. A quick Google search would say that epistemology is the theory of knowledge. Okay? So, how do you do that? Technically, as a teacher, you are required to know how students form knowledge and how this knowledge is, well, technically manipulated. Ano yung definition nito? The definition of this is you need to have knowledge on the different learning styles of the learners. The knowledge on the different performances, different intelligences. So this talks about pedagogical knowledge. And next, on how to use technology to build on existing knowledge. Okay? So, kailangan daw merong continuity na binibigay yung technology mo. Okay? So, how do you do that? Usually, sa PowerPoint, or usually, meron kang review part sa lesson plan, di ba? So, you can use technological activities there. You can use a software there. Pwede kang magpa-quiz as a review using Quizzes. Okay? Pwede kang magpa-games using Scavenger Hunt. And so on and so forth. This technologies allows students to review previous knowledge through an activity. And then, of course, you're also going to use technology to connect it to new ones. Okay? So, ano pa ibang takeaways dito? Kadami palang kailangan para makagamit ka ng TPACK. Yes. Because this is essentially, according to Collier and Mishra, this is essentially what teaching in the modern times should be. no form of knowledge no form of knowledge is in isolation. Okay? According to the words of Collier and Mishra, these three types of knowledge exist in dynamic equilibrium. Meaning, pag nagbago ka ng technology, mababago yung pedagogy or yung content mo or both of them. So, yung tatlong yan, nagbabalanse. Okay? Pag may binago kang isa, mababago na yung iba. Lahat. Okay? So, yun po yung ating TPACK. Okay? So, ano pa ba yung ibang sinasabi nila? Okay? Wala naman na. Technically, another example na to. So, let's just have a quick example of how TPACK works. Okay? So, for example, usually, pag nag-i-start tayo, we start with content. We review kung ano yung nakalagay sa ating lesson plan. Okay? So, for example, as I said, tuloy natin yung istorya ng fraction. So, example, I'm going to teach fraction. Okay? And then, alam ko nga kung paano yung fraction, di ba? That's your content knowledge. My pedagogical knowledge enters. Okay? So, how am I going to teach fractions? How learned are my students already when it comes to fractions? Ano yung kanilang prerequisite knowledge? Ano yung kanilang learning style? Gusto ba nila yung naglalaro? Pag yes, sige, maganda dito yung activity method or activity-based learning. Gusto ba nila nakaupo lang at nakikinig? Okay, di magle-lecture method tayo. Okay? And then, you analyze. Combination din ng dalawa. Lecture method for beginning fractions, baka mahirap. Alam na nila yung fractions or at least yung basic ng fractions. So yes, I can use lecture method. So again, this changes. Your pedagogical knowledge changes your content knowledge, and your content knowledge limits your pedagogical knowledge. Papasok mo technology. Okay? So if I'm going to use lecture method, anong tools yung gagamitin ko? Gagamit ba ako ng flip chart? Flip chart is part of technological knowledge. Gagamit ba ako ng PowerPoint presentation? No. Gagamit ako ng modeling. Because they need to see the contrast between the different levels of fraction para hindi sila magkamali na i-assume na mas mataas yung or na mas malaki yung 1/4 kaysa sa 1/3. They need to see a representation of fraction. That's your technology knowledge. You know what particular technology is used for representing knowledge, and then you see if it is good. Kung gagamit ako ng for example 3D paint, swak ba siya sa lecture method? Well, yes. I can simply use a projector to show it to them. I can construct 3D models before the lecture. Now, is it used for teaching fractions? Meron ba mga features yung 3D printing? Well, yes, technically, because a model requires dimensions and you can set any dimension if you want. So it can allow you to compare and contrast models. So okay na. In equilibrium na itong tatlong napili ko. 3D paint, lecture method, and the content of fraction. That's a quick example on how TPACK works. Kaya napaka-hirap i-develop ng TPACK din because it needs a teacher to have wide or at least diverse knowledge in the three forms of knowledge. That's why being a teacher is hard. Hindi lang pwedeng alam mo yung content. Hindi lang pwedeng alam mo yung pedagogicals. Dapat alam mo rin yung combination nilang lahat. Okay? So that is how TPACK model affects, or how TPACK model is prevalent and present in teaching. Okay? So that ends our recording for this module. And for your activity, I have already uploaded a Google form for you to answer. So please take your time in answering it. Okay? And then I'll see you all again in our synchronous meet. Bye.